माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8. The chapter is entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Lord Vishnu. And today we are reading text number 12, verse number 12. Chaturyuganam cha sahasramapsu Yuganam cha sahasramapsu Swapan Swayodiritaya Swashaktya Swapan Swayodiritaya Swashaktya कालाख्याया सादित कर्म तंत्रो लोकान पितानां ददृशे स्वदेहे चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु स्वपन स्वयोदिरितया स्वशक्त्या कालाख्याया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो लोकानपितान् ददृशे स्वदेहे चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु स्वपन स्वयोदिरितया स्वशक्त्या कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो लोकानपितान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
स्वदेः
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदिरीतया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोधितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्या साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदिरीतया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोधितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यायासितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्याया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्यायासितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु
स्वपन् स्वयोदितया स्वशक्त्या
स्वपन् स्वयोदीरितया स्वशक्त्या
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे
लोकानपि तान् ददृशे स्वदेहे. Word to word meanings: Chatuh, four, Yuganam, of the millenniums, Cha, also, Sahasram, 1000, Apsu, in the water, Swapan, dreaming in sleep, Swaya, with his internal potency, Udiritaya, for further development, Swashaktya, by his own energy, Kala Akhyaya, by the name Kala, Asadita, being so engaged, Karmatantra, in the matter of fruitive activities, Lokan, the living entities, Apitan, bluish, Dadrishe, saw it so, Dehe, in his own body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation: the Lord lay down for 4,000 yuga cycles in his internal potency, and by his external energy he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kala Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. Purport: in the Vishnu Purana, Kala Shakti is mentioned as avidya. The symptom of the influence of Kala Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive results. The fruitive workers are described in Bhagavad Gita as mudhas or foolish. Such foolish living entities are very enthusiastic to work for some temporary benefit within perpetual bondage. One thinks himself very clever throughout his life if he is able to leave behind him a great asset of wealth for his children, and to achieve this temporary benefit he takes the risk of all sinful activities without knowledge that such activities will keep him perpetually bound by the shackles of material bondage. Due to this polluted mentality and due to material sins, the aggregate combination of living entities appeared to be bluish. Such an impetus of activity for fruitive result is made possible by the dictation of the external energy of the Lord Kala. Omajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the translation reading once again. The Lord lay down for 4,000 yuga cycles in his internal potency, and by his external energy he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kala Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. So here we are discussing in these verses that how the partial devastation has happened, how the living entities are currently in their unmanifest state. And from Bhagavad Gita we understand that the night of Brahma is 1000 millenniums. 1000 millenniums is his day and 1000 millenniums is his night. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano vidu ratri yug sahasrantam te api ratra vido janaha. So 1000 yuga cycles, 4 Chatur Yuga cycles. The yugas means we know 4 yugas: Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, times 4. That turns out to be 4,320,000 years. 43 lakhs of years is one Chatur Yuga cycle. So like that there are 1000 cycles. So for 1000 cycles there is creation during the day of Brahma, and similar duration 1000 Chatur Yuga cycles is the night of Brahma. So during this time there is no creation. All the living entities, they are in their unmanifested. So there is no creation at that time. So now it is mentioned that Lord lay down. Lord means Garbhodakshai Vishnu. He lay down for 4,000 yuga cycles in his internal potency, and he appeared to be sleeping within the water. And here in the translation as well as in the purport, Prabhupada mentions about Kala Shakti. Prabhupada quotes Vishnu Purana. So in Vishnu Purana, Kala Shakti is mentioned as Avidya. So this is the verse from Vishnu Purana. Vishnu Shakti para prokta kshetra gyakya tatha para avidya karma samgnanya tritiya shakti rishyate. So there are 3 energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of Lord Vishnu. So one is Vishnu Shakti, which is para, which is superior, internal energy of Lord Vishnu. Then there is kshetra gyakya tatha para. Then there is marginal energy, which is called kshetragya, which is the living entity. And then there is the third energy, which is called avidya karma sangnana, which is being discussed in this verse, Kala Shakti, which Prabhupada refers to as Kala Shakti. It is this avidya, or this energy, is the external energy of the Lord, which keeps the living entities bound up in fruitive activities. So in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter 4th verse, Krishna mentions about his material energies. Krishna says, Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara ityam me bhinna prakriti rashtada. So these 8 are separated, these 8 material energies: earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are 5 gross elements, and then 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence and ego, false ego. So these 3 are subtle energies. So these are termed as material energy, and this is an energy of Krishna only. But this energy keeps the living entities bound up in the material world, in the conditioned state. So living entity, although he's a part of the superior energy. In the next verse, Krishna says, Aparayam itasthvanyam prakritim viddhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yahedam dharayate jagat. So the living entity, he is a part of the superior energy of the Lord. But however, because he is minute, he is infinite simul, so he has been conditioned by the external energy of the Lord. And because of being conditioned by this external energy of the Lord, he is in illusion, he is in avidya, he is in maya. And because of that, he is acting on the material plane and he is performing various fruitive activities. So fruitive activities means acting for the benefit of, for the pleasure of the senses, for temporary benefits of the senses. That is defined as fruitive activities. So one is not concerned about his eternal benefit. He thinks that he is this body. He does not have any conception beyond this body. Like now, right now we are reading about the eternal position, how for thousands, millions of years the creation is happening, and then for thousands of years the creation is not happening. Out of these millions of years, the lifetime of one person in the present age, if we see, it may be hardly 70, 80 years. That also many people are not able to live. So people are only concerned about this lifetime, small lifetime of 70, 80 years. They don't think what will happen to them after that. What was their situation before that? And what is it that has led them to the present situation? Although they experience so many distresses, so many problems in their life, but still they go on, continuing their fruitive activities with the hope that they will enjoy something in the future. So that is their plan. So this is referred to as fruitive workers in this purport. Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita that fruitive workers are described in Bhagavad Gita as mudhas or foolish. So they are very enthusiastic to work for temporary benefit within perpetual bondage. So they get some temporary benefit and it keeps them bound up. They don't think that they are bound up. They are taking this birth again and again. They are again and again suffering from miseries of birth, old age, disease and death. Also suffering from the threefold miseries of material nature, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, three kleshas. So 4 problems and 3 kleshas, they are always troubling the living entity, but he is not concerned about how he should get out of it. He is just working for some temporary sense gratification. So this mentality is known as foolish. To get out of this perpetual cycle of birth and death, the repeated cycle of birth and death, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives a simple solution. Krishna says, Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So whoever surrenders unto me, he can overcome this energy of mine called maya, and he can overcome this. There is no other way. But we still, by knowing that this is such simple solution, is there still these people, they don't take to this simple cure for this problem, for this material problem. So then in the immediate next verse, Krishna says about the kinds of people who don't surrender unto him. He says in the 15th verse of the 7th chapter, Namam duskritino mudha prapadyante naradhama maya aprita jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. So 4 kinds of people, they don't surrender unto Lord Krishna. They are called as miscreants, dushkritina. So they don't surrender unto Lord Krishna. And the first category of these miscreants is mudhas, or the foolish persons, which are also mentioned in this purport by Srila Prabhupada. That these miscreants, they are just working for some temporary benefit. Like the mudhas means asses or donkeys. The way how the asses work. They are employed by the washerman for some temporary work, and the ass is always afraid of the stick of the washerman, that I may not get beaten. So he is always working in the fear of being beaten, and he does so much heavy hard work. Throughout the day he is lifting loads on his back, putting from one place to another. And what is the benefit that he gets? At the end of the day, the washerman gives him some grass, and that grass, by eating that grass, he is satisfied. So this is kind of the mentality of mudhas. So during the day he is working hard, and later he wants to enjoy sex life with his partner, and although when the ass tries to enjoy sexual intercourse with his partner, he is always kicked by the opposite party, but still he enjoys. This is the mentality of mudhas, just working for some temporary benefit. They are perpetually bound and entangled in this material world. So like this they live, and at the end of their life, based on their karma and based on their desires, they are again awarded another body, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita also, and also in Srimad Bhagavatam, karmana daiva netrena yantar dehopapadyate. Based on the activities that a person has done in this life, and based on his desires that he has cultivated by acting in such a way throughout his life, the person is awarded another body. It is not necessary that he may get a human body. There are 8,400,000 species of life. Of course, modern science has not discovered it, but as per the scriptural evidence, we take it for a fact that there are 8,400,000 species of life. There are birds, plants, animals, insects, and human beings. 4 lakh types of human beings are there. So based on karma and based on the desires, Lord knows what kind of activities a conditioned living entity can do, and He has already designated similar bodies from the beginning only. So based on the desire at the time of death and his acquired credit called karma, the living entity is given a particular body and he takes into that body. So if he has, throughout his life, if he has acted through the consciousness of a dog and he has cultivated the desires of a dog, namely eating, sleeping, mating and defending, so for these activities he may be awarded a dog's body. It is not necessary that after the end of this life one may be given a human body only. He may be given a dog's body, he may be given a cat's body. So like this, these people, they are not concerned about where they are going, and they are continuously acting for some temporary benefits. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, these kinds of people are mentioned in many places. A very famous verse is Nidraya Hriyate Naktam. The activities of these persons are described, how these people are acting. Nidraya Hriyate Naktam Vyavayena Chavavaya Divacharte Haya Rajan Kutumba Bharanenava. So in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned that in the night, this gross fruitive worker, how his night is spent. So his night is spent in sleeping and sex indulgence, and his daytime is utilized in maintaining the family. So this person, his full day is working so much hard, although he's by spending so much time for gaining some money, some wealth, acquiring for maintaining his family, he spends his entire day. He himself is not able to enjoy, but he thinks that he is very happy just by enjoying some sex life and sleeping in the night and working very hard for the day. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, one thinks himself very clever throughout his life if he is able to leave behind him a great asset of wealth for his children, and to achieve this temporary benefit he takes the risk of all sinful activities without knowledge that such activities will keep him perpetually bound by the shackles of material bondage. So throughout his life he keeps on doing these activities and he is in ignorance about not knowing about his original position, that forgetting that he is an eternal spirit soul, he is a part and parcel of Lord Krishna. And due to this tendency of enjoying or lauding it, he has somehow been fallen into this material world and experiencing and suffering repeated birth and death. And he is bound up with these activities just by doing one activity after another. And based on that, he is acquiring different new types of bodies after every lifetime. So the solution is mentioned in many places in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam also, as we discussed in Bhagavad Gita, that one should surrender unto Lord Krishna. But still these people don't do. In Bhagavad Gita also, in the 3rd chapter also, Krishna mentions Yagyarthat karma nyatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So to become liberated from this bondage, one should work for Krishna, right? For Vishnu or Krishna. Right now, the conditioned living entity, they are in the fruitive mentality. So currently, they are working for their own sense gratification, the happiness of their temporary senses. So what is the happiness of the senses? Just the contact of senses and sense objects. So like a person has a tongue, he would like to eat. To satisfy the urge of the tongue, one would like to eat delicious foodstuffs. For satisfying the urge of the genitals, he would like to have intercourse with an attractive partner. So like that, all the senses are pulling the person in different directions, and the person is acting for his own sense gratification. But Krishna says that yagyarthat karmananyatra, you should not work for the satisfaction of the senses, but you should work for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Then you will not be bound up by this material bondage. Otherwise, you are continuously getting bound up, again and again suffering the reactions of our previous activities, again taking birth, again dying, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, again and again taking birth in the shelter of different mothers, different wombs, sometimes cat mother, sometimes dog mother, sometimes tiger mother, sometimes human mother also. Of course, if somebody is unfortunate, he may take shelter in human body and be killed before coming out only. This is happening in the modern age. So all these are very sinful activities, and because of which the living entity has to suffer again and again. But the fruitive workers, they are not concerned about their eternal benefit. Even in Vedic times, there was an atheist called Charvak Muni. He also proposed a philosophy: Yavad jivet sukhat jivet drinam kritva ghritam pivet vasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragmana kutah bhavet. So this he says that beg, borrow and steal, but eat only foodstuffs prepared in ghee. After the end of this body, everything is burnt to ashes, everything is finished. There is no coming back. So why you should be worried about morals and behaving ethically or concerning about future life? So that is the philosophy of Charvak. Nowadays we see a lot of proponents of followers of Charvak philosophy, because these people are only concerned about temporary benefit. And they say, who has seen what will happen in future? Eat, sleep and be merry. But they don't understand that just like the ignorance of law is not an excuse. One may say that I have not seen what is going to happen. I don't know if there is next life, if it exists or not. But even in a modern simple state created by human beings who are imperfect, even in that society we know that ignorance of law is not an excuse. If I decide that in India, although I'm supposed to drive on the left side of the road, but if I decide that I don't want to drive on the left, who cares? I will drive on the right side. We'll see what happens. So immediately at the crossroads, the traffic police will catch me and I will be supposed to pay the fine and I will have to suffer for that punishment. So similarly, this entire material creation, it is the government of the Lord. So it is also governed by perfect regulative principles, by perfect laws. So these laws are applicable to all the living entities. So we cannot say, just by saying that I have not seen what will happen, or because I don't know what happens or who has seen, like Charvaka says, what happens, kutah punaragmano bhavet. So by relying on this kind of philosophy, one person cannot say that he is secure. He will have to suffer, although he has not seen. There are various kinds of planetary systems. There are higher planetary systems also, there are lower planetary systems also, there are hellish planets also. There is a lot of suffering for different kinds of sinful activities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, it is mentioned that there are 28 types of hellish planets. So a person who does whatever different kinds of sinful activities, there is a designated hell and designated kind of suffering for every kind of sinful activity. So a person should be wise and concerned about his eternal benefit. Also, just like there are this hellish planets for suffering and lower species, similarly there are heavenly planets also. In the Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned in the 2nd chapter 42nd verse about heavenly planets. So there are many people who, although they accept the authority of scriptures, but they are interested only in the karma kanda part or the part which will lead them to heavenly planets. So Krishna says in that verse in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter 42nd verse, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschita vedavada radha partha nanya astiti vadina. So they think that this world we are presently put here, but our aim is to just enjoy material benefits. So we should just do activities according to the Vedas and elevate ourselves from this current middle planetary systems and go to higher planetary systems in the heavenly planets. So in the heavenly planets also, in that purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that how there are beautiful gardens, how there is somrasa, delicious beverage in the heavenly planets, and how there are beautiful angels with whom one can enjoy. But even if somebody elevates to such a higher planetary system, to this high level of material enjoyment, but still the aim of life is not achieved. Why? Because in Bhagavad Gita later Krishna mentions A Brahma Bhuvana Aloka Punaravrtino Arjuna. Punya, another verse mentions Kshine Punya Martya Lokam Punha Vishanti. So after his benefits are used up, he again has to come back to this material world, or again go back to the lower species of life to again continue evolution from from lower life forms and then gradually elevate himself to human life again. So this is not a very good business. Again and again doing the same activities, going to lower species, suffering the different miseries given by Maya, by different living entities also, birth, old age, disease and death, so much suffering, again coming to human form of life, again going to higher planets, again coming down. This is compared to a Ferris wheel. Like sometimes one is on a higher planet, is somewhere higher point, sometimes is on the lower point, and this Ferris wheel keeps on moving. So just moving around in this Ferris wheel, it is no happiness. Some temporary happiness may be felt, but overall it's just misery only. So an intelligent person should inquire about his eternal position, about how he can get out of this miserable cycle of birth and death, repeated birth and death. And his eternal position is explained by, the eternal position of living entity is explained by Lord Krishna in various places in the Bhagavad Gita, also in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamai vamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So a living entity is a eternal fragmental part and parcel of Krishna. He is not a part of this material world, but he has come to this material world and now he is covered by this illusion, avidya, kala shakti as described in this purport. So because of being illusioned, now he is suffering in this material world. And as a part and parcel of Krishna, his eternal responsibility is to serve Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains at many places that the duty of the part is to serve the whole. Just like this finger is there, so the responsibility of this finger is to serve the whole, the entire body. To give a simple example, if there is a gulab jamun, so the responsibility of this finger is to take the gulab jamun and feed to the mouth. This finger it alone cannot enjoy this gulab jamun. If it will try to enjoy the gulab jamun, it will break it, it will spoil it. So neither the finger will be happy, neither the whole will be satisfied. But at the same time, if the same finger, if it puts the gulab jamun in the mouth and it gives to the stomach, so the finger also gets nourishment. So that is how it is the constitutional position of a living entity to serve Krishna. But because of being envious of Krishna, because of seeing that Krishna is enjoying and I also want to have similar enjoyment, we living entities, we have fallen to this material world and now we are trying to become happy, we are trying to become lords of small items under our jurisdiction. Some may be a proprietor of a land, some may be a proprietor of a business, some may be a temporary proprietor of a state, some may be a prime minister. But all these are temporary designations. Our lifetime may be 60-70 years. So at max, whatever we have, our possessions, we can keep them till death only. After that, it is taken away by force. So nobody can claim proprietorship over these temporary material articles eternally. So we have to ultimately give up these attachments. So it is better to take to our eternal constitutional role as servitors of Krishna and follow this responsibility and try to cultivate devotional service in this life. By cultivating devotional service in this life, a living entity, he can overcome this covering of Maya which he is currently fallen into. It is mentioned the symptom of the influence of Kala Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive activities. So by cultivating devotional service, that the person can overcome this Kala Shakti, the influence of Kala Shakti, and he can revive his original position as an eternal servitor of Krishna, and then he can be eternally happy. Just like by serving the whole, the part becomes happy. Similarly, a living entity will become eternally happy if he takes up to his constitutional position of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord Krishna, and then he can overcome this suffering. So we end here. If there are any comments, corrections, questions.
Now just we saw that previously partial devastation had happened.
Yes.
And now it is, I think, like morning.
Yes. Creation will happen now.
So now again Brahma will arrive and creation will happen.
Yes.
Now that process it is being mentioned now.
Right.
Like a few verses Brahma will appear. But so then, but here it is said that so Brahma, so in the day, activities of the living entities go on, creation, 1000 Yuga cycles.
Yes.
And in the night is also of same duration.
Yes.
Here it is written that the Lord laid down for 4,000 yuga cycles.
So yuga means Kali Yuga, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. Like this there are 4 yugas. So yuga refers to Satyuga, like that one yuga. And when you combine 4 yuga, it becomes one kalpa. So Lord lies down for 1,000 kalpa cycles. You may say 1,000 kalpa cycles or 4,000 yuga cycles. Although in Bhagavad Gita you may say that it is mentioned Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, but that is still understood to be, in the purport Prabhupada clarifies it, that there are 4 yuga cycles multiplied by 1,000. So that is the day of Brahma. So 4 into 1,000, that is one day of Brahma, and similar is his night. So same is repeated here also.
So this is 4,000 yugas.
Yeah, 4,000 yugas.
One question, you said in Bhagavad Gita several times the eternal constitutional position of Jiva is explained. So where all it is mentioned?
One is that 15.7, Mamayivamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That is one. And when I said many times, I refer to Bhagavad Gita as it is. So Prabhupada in various purports he puts it, and he quotes references from Srimad Bhagavatam also, and sometimes he quotes to this verse only.
Another verse is there.
Yes.
Eternal position.
That is eternal position.
To serve the Lord. Of course, not directly it's told, but it's told in relation to
right.
Perfected souls or those who have never fallen actually. Devotees.
And also in the beginning, in the second chapter also, Krishna explains about the position of the soul. Of course, one that is initial explaining about the beginning. Generally people are thinking about that they are these bodies. So he starts from there. So that is also constitutional position only, that he is an eternal spirit soul. He is a servitor of Krishna, that Krishna says directly later.
Constitutional position means servant of Krishna.
Servitor of Krishna, yes.
I was referring to that.
Yes.
Servant. Eternal aspect is there in the second chapter.
Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.